students, today I will take a class on origin and development of society. Today, this unit will help you to know the meaning and definitions of society, state the nature of human society, describe the various elements of society, explain the characteristics of society, explain origin and evolution of societies, and finally identify the types of societies. Dear students, this unit introduces to you the origin and development of society. It includes the significant concepts of meaning and definitions of society, nature of human society, elements of society, characteristics of society, origin and evolution of societies, and types of societies. None can deny the statement that every man is a member of certain society. From the moment of birth to death, a man remains as a member in a society. Therefore, it is the human curiosity to explore the origin and development of society. Let us discuss the concepts of society before we begin to explore its transforming nature in its entirety. Dear students, this unit will be divided into two parts. Part 1 is video 1 and part 2 is video 2. Video 1 contains meaning and definitions of society and nature of human society. And the video 2, that is part 2, contains various elements of society, characteristics of society, origin and evolution of societies, and types of societies. Now, dear students, I am going to start the part 1, that is video 1, meaning of society. The term society is derived from the Latin word socius, which means companionship or friendship. Companionship means sociability. According to George Simmel, the element of sociability is the true essence of society. It means that man always lives in the company of other people. The word society is employed to indicate the specific members of a group rather than the social relationship among the members of the group. As for instance, in this context we can take the example of a horizon society. Again, the word society is used to name or label institutions. For instance, Arya Samaj, Brahma Samaj, etc. But in sociology, the word society is used not to refer to a group of people or an institution. Rather, it is used to refer the complex pattern of the norms of interaction that involve the members in a society. One of the important aspects of society is the system of relationship that shows the pattern of norms of interaction among the members of a society. Some sociologists feel that society is created when people come to know each other. As for instance, two people are traveling in a bus of the same place, but they do not know each other or do not communicate with each other. Then the question of a society does not come into existence. But when they try to communicate with each other or come in contact, then the element of a society in the sense of reciprocal relationships comes into existence. Therefore, a reciprocal relationship is a very important element of a society. Now, dear students, now the concept is definition of society. According to Maurice Gimber, a society is a collection of individuals united by certain relations or mode of behavior which mark them off from others who do not enter into these relations or who differ from them in behavior. According to Giddings, society is the union itself, the organizations, the sum of formal relations in which associating individuals are bound together. Further, he defines a society as a number of like-mindedness and are therefore able to work together for common ends. Lapierre holds that the term society refers not to group of people, but to the complex pattern of the norms of interaction that arise among and between them. According to Merkava and Page, society is a way of social relationship. Further, he defines a society as a number of like-mindedness and are therefore able to work together for common ends. Professor Wright defines society is not a group of people, it is the system of relationship that exists between the individuals of the group. While Green defines society in this way, a society is the larger group to which any individual belongs. McIver holds that society is a way of social relationships. It indicates a way of social relationships. So, it is very difficult to pinpoint or formulate a catalogue of social relationships. Wright says, society in essence means a state or condition, a relationship, and is therefore necessarily an abstraction. Reuter holds that just as life is not a thing but a process of living, so society is not a thing but a process of associating. Their learners, their students, these definitions indicate the important relationship between individual and society. A man cannot think of living in isolation of other fellow human beings. So society is a place of fulfilling desire, imagination, planning, aspiration, vision, etc. Without a society or living in a place without other, an individual is incomplete. And a definition, man is by nature a social animal, given by Aristotle, highlights this nature of man. That is why none can deny the importance of society, and therefore it will be necessary to discuss the origin and evolution of societies. Now, dear students, now the concept is origin and evolution of societies. A baby is not born in a solitary world, rather he is born in a society. Although it is not possible to answer directly when and how society originated, Aristotle states that man has a natural tendency to live together. Thus, a man is not happy if he lives alone. In response to a query, who had created our society? It is replied, man has created society for the fulfillment of various needs in order to lead a happy and peaceful life. The social nature of man is also an important factor in the creation of society. In this context, we cannot deny the natural instinct of a human being to live with others. Dewey, an American philosopher, states that man is unthinkable without a society. There are mainly two theories on the origin of society. The social contact theory. This theory states that all men were born free and equal. It also views that individual precedes society. Individuals made a social agreement and created a society. According to Thomas Hobbes, the state of nature in the ancient age was filled with conflict due to the selfish nature of man. Hobbes viewed that in that period the life of man was solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. Men were enemy to one another. Therefore, in order to lead a peaceful life against the possible danger or evil, they came into a contact in order to form a society and live together with common ends. Another exponent of this theory was John Locke. He held the view that the state of nature was not the state of war. Rather, he viewed that it was a state of peace, goodwill, mutual existence, and preservation. But the problem was that the state of nature at that time was not organized in the context of law and justice. That is why, in order to sort out this problem and to ensure law and justice, they came into a contract by which certain powers were conferred upon the community. J. Rousseau, in his social contract, opined that the state of nature was equal, self-subsistent, and contented. They lived a life of happiness and primitive simplicity. But due to the growth of population, men became violent and were in quarrels with each other. And as a result, they entered into a contract to form a society to get rid of the disturbances involved in the state of nature. This theory cannot be considered the adequate explanation of the origin of society. The statement that individual is prior to the society cannot be accepted on the ground that the social nature of man is inborn. Thus the thinking individual prior to the society as held by this theory cannot be accepted. Now the second one, that is the organic theory. This theory holds that the relation between individual and society is organic and not mechanical. The organic relation between individual and society is found in the works of Leslie Stephen and Herbert Spencer. According to them, society is also a living organism like human body. Human body consists of innumerable cells. Metaphorically, it can be said that the different members of society are the cells of society. Just as different parts of the body are interdependent, yet finally dependent on the whole nervous system, so also different members of a society who are dependent on one another and ultimately dependent on the whole society. Again, just as individuals cannot exist without society, So also society cannot exist without individual. Similarly, cells cannot exist without a human body, and human body cannot exist without cell. Therefore, society is like a living organism. Herbert Spencer has compared society to the animal body, whose system of nutrition corresponds to society. In its industrial and agricultural system, the circulatory system that corresponds to the communication and transport system, the nervous system to the functioning government, and so on. This theory is also not satisfactory in the sense that the relationship between individual and society is not mechanical. Metaphorically, there are some resemblances between society and organism, but these similarities are not essential. For instance, a man can exist without a society if he is expelled from the society, but a man cannot survive if one's cell is disengaged from his body. Therefore, it can be said that the relation between individual and society is not mechanical, rather it is a natural development. It can be said that society came into existence simultaneously with the arrival of man on this world. We cannot assert either society or man as prior to one another. Man without society is unthinkable. Similarly, society without man is a story without content. Man has a social nature and a natural instinct of living together. Although there is no definite answer of beginning or end of a society, yet man has played a dominant role in the development of society which we cannot ignore. Human existence in the ancient times was primarily based on the rule of nature. In the state of nature, each man lived for himself. The concept of might is right prevailed at that time, and human life struggled for existence. This indicates the picture of survival of the fittest. At that time, the strongest man survived or was fit for living. In this way, the form of human society came into light, and simultaneously the process of evolution of society from the primitive age to the modern age began its course. After a period of time, people realized that the concept of might is right or the survival of the fittest was not a healthier concept of living in a social order. Therefore, people thought of an alternative concept of living in which poor people or the weaker section also can get equal advantage of living in a social setup. In this way, the concept of might is right was displaced by people for a structured or a better way of life. As a result, the concept of live and let to live came into existence. In this way, people started the way of living in a structured, organized, and systematic manner. It can be viewed that society had evolved along with physical and biological evolution. Charles Darwin, in his book The Origin of Species, viewed that evolution was the result of natural selection, in which nature selected those people who had the ability to make himself fit for living in their natural surroundings. Such people were considered either stronger or more intelligent than the others who were less stronger or less intelligent. The evolutionary process is based on the biological mechanism which brought out biological changes of species. Now, dear learners, there are some questions. These questions are given from the previous content given to you. The first question is that Nasser name the Latin word from which the word society is derived. Question number 2. Give the definition of society by Giddens. Question number 3. Man is by nature a social animal. Who formulated this concept? Question number 4. Which new concept replaces the previous concept? Might is right. Question number 5. Why was the concept of might is right replaced? Question number 6. Who held the view that life of man in the ancient age was solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short? Question number 7. Which theory of the origin of society holds the view that individual precedes society? Question number 8. Who held the view that the state of nature were equal, self-sufficient, and contented? Question number 9. What do you mean by the organic theory? So these are the questions you have to ask yourselves, or you have to test yourself from the previous content given to you. Now, dear students, there is a question, that is activity, and you have to think yourself. You have to think analytic way. The question is, can people live in isolation with their society? Now, dear students, now there are some highlighting points given to you in the first part of the video. These are the term society is derived from the Latin word socius, which means companionship or friendship. Companionship means sociability. A man cannot think of living in isolation without others. So society is a place of fulfilling desire, imagination, planning, aspiration, vision, etc. Without a society, and living in a place without others, an individual become incomplete. Thomas Hobbes mentioned that the state of nature in the ancient days was filled with conflict due to the selfish nature of man. Hobbes viewed that in that period the life of man was solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. Men were enemy of one another. That is why, in order to lead a peaceful life against the possible danger of evil, they came into contract to form a society. The organic theory holds that the relation between individual and society is organic, not mechanical. Leslie Slippen and Herbert Spencer advocated this theory. According to them, society is also a living organism like human body. The most important distinction between the human society and the animal society is that people can judge and have the thinking capacity to decide whether the particular work done by a human being is good or bad. On the other hand, this capacity or power is missing in case of animal society. So, dear students, these are the some highlighting points of the part 1 video. Now, dear students, you have to take some books in order to comprehend the unit origin and development of society. The first one is Vidyabhushan. D.R. Sachdeva book is Textbook of Society. Then Samir Dasgupta and Poulomi Saha, An Introduction to Sociology. Then John Perry and Anna Perry, Contemporary Society. M. Francis, Contemporary Sociology. So, dear Students, the part 1 video comes to an end. Thank you.